Thank you for joining us today on Living It Up, Making Life Juicy. My name is Ingrid Guthrie, and I have with me today a very special guest. Her name is Anna-Sara Fire.
Hi, Ingrid.
Hi, Anna-Sara. You are a yoga teacher.
Yes, I am.
Right. Tell us a little bit about how you got started into yoga.
Well, I am Swedish. I came here 7 years ago, and
That explains the lovely accent.
Oh,
by the
yes,
way.
it does. I was a hard-working journalist who were very devoted to my career and very devoted. I shouldn't say making money, but I was devoted to seeing my name in print, and I was devoted to building my life up from the outside, and I kind of forgot the inside. Then I met my husband, who's an American. I moved here to the US, and I felt like I couldn't be a journalist because English is not my first language, and I couldn't compete with English-speaking journalists. So yeah, so it was hard, and I needed to do something else with my life, and my life felt kind of empty. So I found yoga.
You had a terrible loss as well, you were saying.
Yes. I primarily stopped my journalism career when my father died of leukemia. And I needed to find a little deeper meaning with life. So I started yoga, and I started to build myself up from the inside out instead of the other way around. So that's how it started, and now I'm very devoted to my yoga life.
Wonderful. And you teach locally, but you also just started a business, which is interesting. Tell us about that.
My business is called Agni Yoga Delivery. And
define Agni.
Agni means fire.
Okay.
My last name is Fire.
Fire. This is so perfect.
But in Sanskrit, Agni is the fire that we all have inside of us, and that we can light that fire with the help of yoga and meditation and just mindfulness. So I thought Agni Yoga Delivery was a perfect name.
Nice.
And my business is to bring yoga to people's houses instead of people having to go to yoga studios or gyms, because some people might not be comfortable doing that for different reasons.
Right.
So maybe you just don't feel like the level of the yoga that people are doing, maybe you feel uncomfortable with your body, or just you feel like everyone else is so much better than you, or whatever it could be.
Right. Well, sometimes some of the gyms are very competitive.
Yes.
You know, you go into the classes. I know the place I go is just, they make sure that doesn't happen.
Yes.
But some people really are just more comfortable in their own home.
And you can bring maybe a little group of friends or family or neighbors, and we can just do a little group in your basement or in the corner of your living room, or maybe you just want to do it yourself with a yoga instructor.
So you can do it from between one and however
how many people fit in your living room.
In the house. Yeah. That is wonderful. And then, so when you're talking about the fire, is that, not that I know anything about this, is that about the Kundalini, or is that the same thing, or is it different?
Well, you know, it's interesting. It would be a little bit of the same kind. It is about raising the fire of life, the fire of wanting to live. That would be the easier way to understand it, to be able to light that fire that many of us lose in our everyday life with our everyday stuff, the kind of drains of energy. And this would be the time when we are kind of finding a willingness to want to live full out again.
It certainly is. It certainly is. There's so much going on in the world.
Yes.
You were bad things and catastrophes and calamities, and it's you were talking about stress and the hormones about that and keeping people calm.
You know, it's so hard when our world is changing so much, and this causes a lot of stress for people. And of course, some people are in the middle of the catastrophes. Other people are watching it from a distance. And for all of us, it creates an uncertainty about the world, an uncertainty about tomorrow. And I believe that yoga can help us be in the present, help us being able to just appreciate what we have right now. And it also, the yoga lowers the stress hormone levels, so we can be in a more peaceful place, even if we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And maybe we are in the middle of a catastrophe. I'm not saying that yoga can fix everything, but I do think that we can build a stronger, more solid self, so we can stand stronger through the changes of life.
And have a better outlook.
Exactly.
Be able to deal with it.
Yes, be
better.
able to deal with it. That's a big thing.
So besides this business that you have, bringing yoga to people's homes and teaching them personally, what other, there's a division of yoga called what?
Siva,
Siva,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, this that would be, maybe I don't know if that's an English pronunciation, but that's my pronunciation of it. A big part of yoga is that we believe that to get something we have to give. And I believe in overall in life, that's what we need to do. So
you have to give back.
You have to give back to your community or to the people around you. So what I am doing is I have a yoga outreach program where I bring yoga to the people who might not have access to yoga because of maybe you never heard about it, or maybe you're in a position in life where yoga is not going to be your first priority, or maybe you can't afford it. So I bring yoga to either people at women at shelters or people at shelters. Or I
mean, like domestic violence shelters,
exactly.
Which is such a really good thing that you do.
And just being able to bring peace or bring some harmony and balance in a life that maybe is everything but harmony and balance can be really powerful. And starting to build that up from the inside, just like I said before, instead of you cannot find it in the life around you, maybe you can find a little bit of it from the inside. And I also do yoga at Abington Hospital, their cancer center.
Wonderful.
Which is also
talk about giving back.
It's a very powerful, and also there's so much research that yoga really do improve, since yoga lowers our stress hormones, and we know that stress causes cancer.
Right.
So it's a really, really, I shouldn't say that yoga cures everything, but it does really affect our level of stress, and also maybe impacts our chances to get cancer or other diseases. So it's stress related.
Right. You certainly still have to go see a doctor and do all
Absolutely.
that, but this also helps. And so there's something about yoga where I think you were saying earlier, where it doesn't matter if you're just doing it just for your body or what state of mind you're in, it will still. Go ahead, explain that.
Yes, it doesn't matter. If you go to a yoga class just because you want to work out, you're still going to get the mindful part of it. And there's someone said that if you can, I've heard many people say to me, well, I can't do yoga, I'm not that flexible. And I'm always saying that, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. Maybe you can't do all kinds of yoga, but you can do yoga. And there is a yoga for you. If you can breathe, that's the most important part of yoga. So you can find yoga, and even if it's just you sitting in a chair and rolling your shoulders and breathing, that would be yoga. So we have a little misconception of what yoga is. So I do believe that why we end up with yoga is not that important. We get the whole package of it if we do it. If we keep on coming to our mat, if we keep on standing there and doing it, we're gonna benefit from it.
So either way, it's good for the body, mind, and spirit,
exactly.
and soul, and all that.
Yes.
Wonderful. Tell us about I'm sure that you were received well, but do you have any astounding experiences from Abington?
Well, you know what? That program is just in the startup now, but I do know that it is very. I think that the most important thing with people living with cancer, or people living with people who is living with cancer, is that we need to create a feeling, a situation in our life where something else is the focus than your cancer, or you're identifying with your cancer or your illness, or maybe identifying as a battered woman or an abused child, or that you actually do find. A big part of my yoga practice is to go into your highest self, that place in your core that is not the result of stress or, not the reaction of fear, that core self that we all have. And to find that and just have an hour where you spend with your core self that is not an expression of all those things around us, that is really powerful for people. And maybe it takes a few times. In the beginning, maybe people can't just distance themselves from their real life and just turn inwards, but after a while you're going to be able to do it. And yoga is a practice. That is an important part. It's a practice, which means we don't have to be perfect at it. Our mind can wander, and it can come and it can go, and it's fine. We're practicing it, so it's we don't have to be succeeding at it the first time we're doing it.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Because in a couple minutes she's going to show me a couple yoga moves.
We are together going to do some yoga. Yeah.
She promised she wouldn't hurt me.
No hurting.
Okay.
And that is an important part, because many people feel like they're going to be afraid that a yoga instructor is going to make them do some wild,
Well, every time you see a picture of it, you see this, like, extremely limber person with legs going one way and,
You know what, Ingrid, you're very right, and that I think scares many people.
It does.
Because for many people, that is not at all yoga. Yoga is something very different, and it still is as much yoga as those limber people who's turning over and making a knot out of themselves. So it is very right. Maybe it should be more pictures of people doing yoga in different ways, or other. It's starting now a movement with people with different bodies. Pictures of people with different body types doing yoga, which is very powerful for many people.
I have a friend who takes a rounded body yoga,
Oh,
so
yes.
for the Buddha body.
Yes, yes. No, and there's Buddha belly yoga and
Buddha belly yoga, okay.
and a big ass yoga. I don't know if I can say that on TV. But
Oh, I got that. You were also saying, you mentioned the word vinyasa yoga, and what is that?
Vinyasa flow yoga, that's what I teach. Vinyasa flow yoga is a yoga technique where our yoga movements, or asanas as it's called in Sanskrit, are led by the breath. So so it is a flow. We want to find a flow, and we do a lot of sun salutations, and we are going to do a few of them. So we want to find a flow with the breath, so the breaths are connected with the asanas or the postures. And after a while, we would just feel that flow in our bodies, just like waves almost. So that would be the purpose of Vinyasa flow yoga. Yeah.
And then what is the about the sun salutations you were saying, and then about how the sun rises and sets inside of one.
Yeah.
Explain that. We've got a couple more minutes.
Yes, our sun salutations, many of them think about saluting the sun in the morning, and that's also one way to do it, and it's a really important part of starting your morning like that. But it also is about saluting that sun inside of ourselves and making that sun rise too.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. So that's what we're doing when we're doing the sun salutation, waking up that sun that we all have inside of us.
And is that equivalent to is that in relation? I know everything is in relation to everything else, but is that about the fire?
So it is connected to the fire, and it is connected.
But it's kind of separate.
It is separate, but you know what? However people feel, however it sounds to you, like if you feel like the sun and the fire is it's the same thing in your body, I think that's great. I think that's really, then it's just like light that Agni and do your sun salutations and make that sunrise. That I think it's really important to, kind of how you connect with yoga. If that's how it sounds to you, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And we've got 1 minute left.
1 minute left, all right.
How often do you do yoga in a day?
I teach yoga pretty much every day. So I wish I had a little bit more of a discipline myself without from teaching. But I do yoga, I would say, when I teach it right now. But it is really important, I think, even if you just do a few asanas, you can incorporate it in your everyday life and do it every morning, or something like that. It's important to have a discipline too, because yoga is a discipline. So
wonderful. Wonderful. So I think, let's see, I'm pretty sure we covered everything. I know, I've got my notes. I'm sorry, guys. Stress hormones. So tell us the name of your business again.